Hi, this is Reddit Confessions channel. I didn't sleep that night. Not really. I stayed in the guest room, or, as we used to call it, the junk room, back before things went quiet between us. I sat on the edge of the bed, fully dressed, the tie still around my neck like a noose I forgot to take off. I stared at the floor, at the wall, at nothing. Just running the same loop in my head, that dance, that smirk, those damn cufflinks. By 4 a.m., I finally gave up pretending. I stood up, walked into the hallway, and looked at our bedroom door. It was closed, no sound, no movement. Just a thin wooden barrier between a man who was unraveling and a woman who had already left emotionally, if not physically. That's when I saw it, her phone on the hallway dresser. She always kept it glued to her hand, like a second limb, but for once, there it was, unattended, glowing softly under the nightlight. I wish I could say I hesitated. I didn't. My hands moved faster than my conscience. I picked it up, unlocked it. She hadn't changed the passcode in years, and opened her messages. The first thread that popped up was labeled with one word: Owen. I opened it. I should have stopped. I should have thrown the phone across the room and pretended I hadn't seen anything. But I kept reading because I needed to know whether I was crazy or whether she had made me crazy, gaslighting me into thinking our marriage was fine. The first message was from that night, a few hours before we left for the gala. Owen, you sure bringing him is a good idea? Corey, he's harmless. Besides, it keeps appearances up. Owen, I don't want to hold back tonight. Sigh. Corey, then don't. Hell, get the message eventually. I felt my stomach turn, my hands went cold, but I kept scrolling. More texts. Late nights. Pictures, nothing graphic, nothing that would break YouTube guidelines, but intimate. Him holding her hand across a table. A shot of his watch resting beside her wine glass. One of her in the office bathroom, blouse partially unbuttoned. Weeks of this. Months, maybe. She had created an entire second world, one where I didn't exist, except as a prop, a cover, a shell. The worst part, I could see it in her words. She wasn't in love with Owen. She wasn't chasing passion or romance. She was chasing freedom, an identity that didn't involve me. She had stepped out of our life and never looked back. At 5:12 a.m., she walked into the hallway. I didn't hear her footsteps. I didn't have time to put the phone down. She saw it in my hand, saw my face, and just froze. Her mouth opened slightly, but no sound came out. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. I just looked at her and asked, "How long?" She glanced at the floor like she was doing calculations, like the answer was math and not betrayal. "A few months," she whispered, but it wasn't supposed to become a thing. It just filled something I didn't know was missing. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because my heart didn't know how else to react. "That's poetic," I said. "You know what I miss, Corey? I miss being missed. I miss being seen. I miss my wife." She stepped forward. "Meryl, I didn't mean no," I interrupted. "You meant it. Every word. I just wasn't supposed to find out. I was supposed to stay invisible. But now I'm not." She reached for my hand. I stepped back. That moment, that silence between us, felt louder than any argument we'd ever had. Then, as if on cue, her phone buzzed in my palm. Another message from Owen. "Owen, so did he figure it out, or is he still playing house?" She didn't deny it. She didn't snatch the phone away. She didn't cry. She just turned and walked back into the bedroom. And I realized something that scared me more than the messages ever could. She wasn't sorry. Not for the affair. Not for the lie. Not even for how she made me feel. She was only sorry that I had stopped pretending. I didn't sleep that morning either. The hours after I read those messages, after she saw me holding her phone, were a blur of blank walls and whispered thoughts I couldn't shut off. I sat on the edge of the guest bed again, staring at my suitcase, wondering if I should start packing, wondering what you even take when you're leaving a life behind. What qualifies as yours when the person you loved has already mentally relocated to someone else's arms? Around 7:30 a.m., I heard her moving around the kitchen. She was making breakfast. Breakfast. The woman I just caught exchanging secret flirtatious texts with a man who called me furniture had the nerve to fry eggs like we were any other married couple on any other sleepy weekend morning. She even turned on the coffee maker, the one I bought her on our 8th anniversary. I heard it sputter to life like it always did, steam hissing like it was angry too. I didn't want to go down there, but something in me needed to. Maybe to see if she would lie to my face again. Maybe just to prove to myself that she was real and not some cruel dream. When I walked into the kitchen, she didn't look up. She slid an egg onto a plate and said, "Do you want toast?" I just stared at her. Her hair was messy, still in that knot from the gala. She was wearing an oversized sweatshirt, mine, actually, and she had the same face I married. Only now it felt like I was looking at a stranger wearing my wife's skin. "You're making toast?" I asked quietly. She nodded like nothing was wrong. "Figured you might be hungry." Hungry? That was the word she chose. Not sorry. Not please talk to me. Not even let's fix this. Just breakfast. I read everything. Sigh. You can't just feed me eggs and make it go away. She finally looked at me, leaning slightly against the counter like this was just another Saturday. "I know," she said, her voice flat. There was no fear in her voice, no apology, no tears. Just resignation. Like she had already rehearsed this moment in her mind and now she was simply living it out. I sat down across from her at the table. My hands rested on the wood I had sanded and stained myself 6 years ago. That table held family dinners, birthday cakes, report cards, and burnt lasagnas. And now it held betrayal, thick in the air between us. "You could have told me," I said. She didn't flinch. "You would've left. That was your choice to make." She paused for a second, then said something that genuinely broke me. "I didn't think you'd care this much." That hurt more than the texts, more than the dancing, more than the smile she gave to Owen. "I didn't think you'd care this much." It was the final confirmation that I had become invisible to her long before that ballroom. I had faded into background noise so thoroughly that my heartbreak now seemed like an inconvenience to her. "You didn't think he'd care," I said slowly, almost laughing. "I've loved you since I was 29, Corey. You think I stuck around after 2 miscarriages, your panic attacks, your career pivots, just for convenience. I gave you everything. You think I didn't care." She looked down, tracing a crack in the tile with her bare toe. "I didn't mean it like that." But she did. She just didn't expect me to hear it. After a long silence, I said, "So what now?" "I don't know," she whispered. "Do we talk to someone? A therapist? Try whatever people try." I didn't answer. Not right away. Because somewhere deep inside, something had shifted again. I wasn't angry anymore. I was just exhausted. Worn thin and tired of being the only one who still believed in something we had clearly both outgrown. "No," I finally said. "We're past therapists." She blinked. "Then what are we?" I looked at her, and for the first time in over a decade, I said something that felt like truth instead of survival. "We're 2 people who used to be in love, and now we're just scared of starting over." Her eyes welled up for the first time, but I didn't lean in. I didn't reach across the table. I let the moment hang because I didn't trust her tears anymore. I stood up and went back upstairs. I needed air. I needed space. But most of all, I needed a plan. Because love, it turns out, doesn't disappear in one night. It dies slowly, like toast left too long in the heat. The next few days moved slowly, or maybe I just lived them in slow motion. Corey acted like we were in some kind of limbo, like she could move through the house without consequences. As if the air wasn't thick with tension. She still poured herself morning coffee. still checked her emails on the couch, still changed into her gym leggings and went out for a run, like clockwork. Except now, I no longer asked where she was really going. I didn't want to hear another lie delivered with that casual voice she'd mastered so well. I started documenting things. I know how that sounds. Creepy, desperate. But after 12 years of building a life with someone, the idea that you might need evidence to protect yourself from them that does something strange to your soul. It began with receipts. One morning, she left her gym bag by the door, slightly unzipped. Inside, I found a folded bill from a hotel bar. 2 towns over 2 glasses of Pinot Noir. 1 shrimp cocktail. The date matched the night she told me she was at a women's self-defense class. I took a picture. I didn't confront her. Not yet. That same evening, I searched our joint bank account. I hadn't looked at it in weeks, maybe months. And why would I? She handled the bills. We always kept things even, at least I thought we did. But there it was, a $273 charge to La Bellina Jewelry, another to Villa Lucero Day Spa, a third to a boutique florist in Ridgefield. She never wore new jewelry around me, never brought flowers home, and she sure as hell didn't come back glowing like someone who'd just had a massage. All those things, they were for him, the man with the cufflinks, the one who danced like I wasn't even there. Every discovery felt like another flaw giving out beneath me, but I wasn't falling anymore. I was preparing. For the first time in years, I was looking at my life without filters, without excuses, without that blind loyalty I once wore like a badge of honor.